and welcome to Wheatley Park in Staines for the FA Women's Super League. Chelsea ladies welcome Sunderland ladies for a game in which both teams would dearly love 3 points for very different reasons. It's been a bad couple of weeks for Emma Hayes' defending champions, losing to Arsenal at Wembley in the FA Cup final. Then last week they were beaten at home by their closest title rivals, Manchester City women. There's now a 6-point gap between them and City, but Chelsea do have a game in hand. You feel only a win will do if they're to retain their WSL crown. Sunderland ladies are desperate for points and a first win of the season. After a great season last year, they find themselves second bottom, having only drawn 3 games all campaign. If they're to stave off relegation, they'll need their PFA Young Player of the Year, Beth Mead, to find the impressive scoring form she showed throughout 2015. BT Sports coverage of the 2016 FA Women's Super League continues with Chelsea ladies against Sunderland ladies. Kick-off is 30 minutes away. Good evening from Surrey for our final WSL game before we take a mid-season break so we can cheer on our England Lionesses. And tonight I have with me 2 former international stars to cast their expert eyes on tonight's game, Sue Smith and Rachel Brown-Finnis. Well, 7 months ago we were here on the final day of the season to watch Chelsea lift that title after beating Sunderland, rounding off an excellent 2015 campaign for them. Sue, I suppose the last 12 days for Chelsea have proved that they are beatable. They're not invincible, and 2 results that will clearly hurt them: the FA Cup defeat and then the defeat against Manchester City.
Without a doubt it'll hurt them. They'll be disappointed. They're a club with high expectations. They expect to win every game that they play, and I think we've got to look at the games that they have played. An FA Cup final against Arsenal, who I thought just performed on the day. I thought they got everything spot on, so they've got to give credit to Arsenal for that. And then I think to have to play Manchester City straight after that, who are another top team, I think it was difficult for them, but I think it's now how will they bounce back from those 2 defeats, and I think they've got good character to be able to do so.
How significant, Rachel, do you think that defeat against Manchester City was here last week in terms of the title race?
Well, I do think it's significant. Not only obviously the points on the board for Manchester City sets them apart from Chelsea, but it's kind of that mental advantage that they have over Chelsea in that they played up against them, and yes, it may be a vulnerable time after the FA Cup final, but they played up against them. Both teams played very, very well. City came away with a win, and for me that was the tipping point. I think today is going to be a big test of Chelsea's character.
Well, you mentioned character. They do have big characters, don't they, in the changing room? Do you think their confidence would have been affected a great deal after those 2 results?
I don't think so. I think they've got a lot of characters in that dressing room. They've got a lot of experience. You look at the likes of Katie Chapman. She's been there. She's done it. Karen Carney. And even you look at Emma Hayes, the manager. She's a top manager that knows how to manage players. And I think sometimes it's just a case of, yes, we've had 2 disappointing results, but now let's go out and prove to people that we are still the best team in the league.
So you think today, Rachel, they'll see this as a real opportunity to bounce back against Sunderland?
If Chelsea don't get all 3 points today and a resounding victory against a Sunderland team who really haven't got their season started, I think there'll be more and more question marks against Chelsea's team, because I think having those 2 games back to back and them playing well but not coming away with anything from the City game has already put a little bit of doubt in some people's minds whether they've got it for the title.
Well, I suppose evidence of how they want to bounce back, how determined they are, is perhaps the team selection from Emma Hayes today, and she's throwing everything at it today, isn't she, Sue?
She really is. What an attacking formation that is, and it's really difficult to try and predict Chelsea's team, especially their front 4, because the likes of Kirby, Davidson, Carney, G and Aluko, how do you fit them all in? Well, she's put them all in today.
For the first time.
For the first time ever. And I think that just shows the intent that she's got. She's going to score goals. And my only concern is that there's only Katie Chapman that's going to be that defensive player, that protective player. Usually there's Millie Bright or Drew Spence alongside her. But she's going for it. She's going for the win, and she's going for goals. And it'll be exciting to see how they do.
And I suppose, Rachel, it's not all cut and dried yet for Manchester City, is it? We've still got a long way to go in the season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're coming up to a mid-season break, but there are still so many points to play for, and what I believe this season more than any season before it is that teams all over the table will be able to take points off the top teams, off the likes of Man City and Chelsea. Liverpool are playing really, really well. Arsenal have obviously come into good form, and when the team is the strongest team selected, we've seen what they can do.
Well, let's not forget there is another game taking place in the WSL. Manchester City are taking on Liverpool up in Merseyside. It's fast approaching half-time there, and we'll bring you a score update. It's just turned half-time, I'm being told. And we will keep you updated with the score there throughout this evening. And Manchester City, of course, with a 6-point gap on Chelsea at the top of the table going into tonight's game. Well, let's then hear how Chelsea have perhaps bounced back in training from those 2 defeats and how they're preparing for tonight's game. Their manager, Emma Hayes, is talking to Adam Summerton.
Emma, do you sense a real eagerness tonight to put things right, to bounce back?
Well, I don't know. I would have to wait for the kick-off. All I can, say is that it's been a really, really good training week for the team. And often, when you're in that position, you hope it translates into performance. And all I can ask is that what they've been doing throughout the week is that they bring it on into the game today, and they play with an intensity, they play with an energy, and they play with a commitment to, impressing our home fans and finding the form that's got us to this position.
Excluding Manchester City, your home form has been exceptional, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think we have to accept the league, and the quality within the league is getting better. You're not going to dominate every game, win every game. And I think if we look at our results over the last 3 years, our win ratio is particularly high, so you're going to have setbacks, and for us the past 2 weeks have been that in the season. But I've got a great dressing room, and I have no doubt whatsoever that they're determined to prove this evening that they are top players, and that they can find the back of the net, and they can put in a defensive performance. So I'm just looking forward to seeing them express themselves this evening.
If we can just get your reaction to the announcement of the England squad, 3 Chelsea players left out of it, Aluko, Chapman and Rafferty. Surprised by that at all?
Yes, of course, surprised. They're all top players, but that's the manager's prerogative. That's his decision, it's his team. I think that's up for the players to prove, starting from this evening, that they've got the qualities to play for England, which they do. They've all got a fantastic cap accumulation to them, and to be fair to Mark, he's got an abundance of riches. He's got a lot of players he can pick from, and I think sometimes that's probably quite challenging for him. So disappointed for the players, but I expect them to bounce back this evening and put a performance in for Chelsea.
Thanks for your time.
Welcome.
Emma Hayes talking to Adam Summerton there. Well, let's talk straight away about what they finished talking about there in the England selection tonight. And Mark Sampson is here this evening watching tonight's game. Were you surprised, Sue, at the fact that Eni Aluko, Katie Chapman, Claire Rafferty, and if we're talking about the top 2 teams, Tony Duggan as well, were you surprised at some of their selections?
I was surprised. I think they're top players with lots of caps, lots of experience amongst them, and I think we spoke about, he has got a lot of players. I think Emma mentioned that in their interview. He's got a lot of players to choose from, a lot of good quality players, and whether he's just trying something different out for this game, and I don't think that's the end for those players. I'm sure they'll come back in future squads, but I think at this moment in time he's obviously trying something different and trying new players.
It'll be interesting to see how those players perform tonight as well. They'll probably know that Mark is here as well, and they'll want to perhaps prove a point, maybe, Rachel.
Well, you'd like to think so. What they have to do, like any disappointments, you've got to pick yourself up and ensure that it doesn't affect your performance, because that's what counts. What I hope as a good England manager should do, and any good manager, is that he's spoken to those players individually. He's explained his rationale for not including them in this squad, and he's also explained to them what they need to do to get back into future squads, because it's not long now till the Euro, so they'll be looking to bounce back.
Well, we alluded to it a little bit earlier about how Chelsea are going to line up this evening, and as I said, she's gone all for it tonight after those 2 defeats. The first time that we've seen those 5 players together, playing together. I was going to ask you, Steve, before tonight, because you mentioned we couldn't second guess Chelsea's team because of that rotation. Does Emma know her best starting 11?
I don't know. I think it's very difficult for a manager. I think the likes of Emma Hayes. I think Arsenal. I think Liverpool. There's a lot of teams now that have got a lot of good quality players, and it's how do you fit all of those players into a team? And I think that's what Emma Hayes is trying to do tonight. I think she's probably picked her best 11 players and tried to fit them into a particular formation. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually do and how they perform together, because, like you say, we haven't seen them before in this sort of formation, and they're all very good ball players. They're technically very good. They like to go forward. So it should be quite an interesting game. I think there'll definitely be goals and lots of creativity.
It'll be interesting to see, as I say, that whether this is the best 11. Who do you think is going to be key to this tonight?
Well, I think Emma Hayes has picked this team to bring the best out of Ji So-yeon. Ji So-yeon's a player who can have the ball to feet, but needs support around her to be influential in a game. If she's got to come deep to receive the ball, that takes away from her best skills. She's a player who can pick the ball up, spin in a really tight area, links really well with players, ones, twos in that final third, and that's what in the last couple of games we've not seen Chelsea be concise and be clinical with is when they've got the ball in that final third. So hopefully the likes of Karen Carney in and around Ji So-yeon will have an influence, and we will see goals tonight.
Fran Kirby hasn't started every game, has she? But she's the leading goal scorer with G. And like you say, it's hard to leave any of these players out. It'll be interesting to see how they all play together tonight.
Yeah, and I've been really impressed with Fran Kirby, especially a character, because I think she didn't start early on in the season, and the fact that she's come on and she's made such an impact, she's made such a difference to the team. And you know, she could have quite easily sulked, she could have sat on the bench and thought, oh well, I'm not playing, but she didn't. She made sure that when she come on, she made a difference. She scored important goals, she created chances, and she looked really confident. And all you can ask for as a sub coming on is to make an impact, and that's exactly what she's done, and she's that sort of player that can do that.
Eni Aluko will be interesting to see how she reacts now, especially as we've mentioned with Mark watching this evening.
Yeah, well, Eni tends to play with her heart on her sleeve. I think being omitted from this last squad will have hurt her, no doubt, but she's a player for big occasions, and certainly I think will be looking to prove a point, because she won't be happy. You know, she's a centurion, she's won over 100 caps for her country, and she's a quality player. She needs to have an influence today, prove her work ethic, prove how hungry she is for a club, and put her back in favour for England.
Very strong attacking force from Chelsea today. That is the Chelsea team. Then we're going to be talking more about tonight's visitors, Sunderland. We're about 20 minutes away from kick-off here. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We're building up to kick-off here in the WSL. Nice healthy crowd here in Staines, which is fantastic to see. But we're also counting down to a special week on BT Sport. As we count down the days to the Champions League final. And in the build-up to that, we've got an exclusive interview when Rio Ferdinand met Gareth Bale. It's on tonight at 8:45 on BT Sport 2. As I say, nice healthy crowd here watching both Sunderland and Chelsea warm up for tonight's WSL game. We have already heard from the Chelsea camp, of course. Well, let's hear from Sunderland's manager, Carlton Fairweather. He's with Adam Somerton.
Carlton, the result's not quite going for you right now, but have you been pleased generally with performances?
Yes, I have. Performances have been good. We've probably let ourselves down a little bit in the Liverpool game in terms of the fact that we created the chances that we created. We just need to be clinical in our finishing. But other than that, we've had some good performances. We've drawn 3 in the league at the moment and only lost 2. So there are some positives to come out of our last game.
If there is such a thing, is this a good time to be facing Chelsea?
Well, there's no good a good time to be facing your top sides, but we're looking forward to the challenge. Obviously, we've got a point to prove in terms of getting results. So any time's as good to play them at this particular time for us. So we're looking forward to the game.
What's morale been like?
Morale's been very good. It's a case at this particular time where training has gone well. We've had games basically against our academy kids as well, and the girls have played really well. So morale at this particular time is very good.
All the best tonight.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Carlton Fairweather there talking to Adam Somerton as the Sunderland team go back into the changing rooms in preparation for tonight's game. Sue, in terms of compare it to last season for Sunderland, they had a fantastic start. Carlton's taken the positives, but it just seems like their season this year hasn't got going yet.
It hasn't, and I think as a manager you've got to take the positives, and I think the fact that their performances are okay, I think that's something that he can look upon, and they haven't been clinical in front of goal. And I think last season what they did very well was they were tight at the back, they were solid, they were difficult to break down, and then when they went forward they were clinical. Beth Meads was scoring goals, and now it seems like they're creating chances but not quite putting them away, and I think defensively they've let in too many goals as well.
Well, we can see there where Sunderland sit in the table, and Doncaster, your team, of course, Sue, have still got games in hand as well. Rachel, is there a real fear of getting dragged into that relegation battle already?
I think so, definitely. I think, as Sue mentioned, defensively they've been very vulnerable. They've been too open. They have been playing some players out of position, but they've also had critical injuries that have really affected them right from the beginning. The likes of Kyla Showman and Crystal Johnson, who they brought in the off-season, should have been influential and would have been starters in this team, and haven't been available through injury. So they need to ride those kind of ups and downs, but they certainly need to start getting points on the board. Today's going to be a tough test, but hopefully they'll be looking to shore up that back line, if nothing else.
We saw what Beth Mead was capable of last season, the leading goal scorer in the WSL. Probably hasn't found that form just yet, but is it more about those channels to her, and perhaps she needs more support?
I think so, and I think sometimes it is that second season syndrome, and I think, players or teams now that play against Sunderland know that Beth Mead is a danger player. She's somebody that's going to create goals, she's going to score goals, so they're putting 1 and 2 players around her to stop her from playing. So now it's a case of she has to probably adapt her game slightly, and also I think the players around her need to help her and support her, because a couple of games that I've seen, she has been isolated, so she's been trying to do it all on her own, so she needs to get other players forward and support her. The likes of Brooke Chaplin, who can do that sort of job.
I was going to say, Brooke Chaplin has kind of taken the share of it this season, hasn't she, Rachel?
Yeah, she's been absolutely quality. I mean, Brooke's a really good quality player to have. She can score goals from the outside of the box. She's creative. She can play the long ball as well. She does have some really good qualities as a footballer, and she's fitted in at Sunderland really, really well. I think the transition to becoming a full-time player has really suited Brooke. So they link up well, and it's right. The service to Beth Mead has to be a little bit better, because she is a natural goal scorer.
Well, Sunderland have beaten Chelsea before. They caused that surprise last season. How do they beat them again tonight?
That's a good question. And I think they've got to take heart from that. They've got to take confidence that they have been there, they have done it. And I spoke to a couple of the Sunderland players, and they do take confidence from that result. And I think against Chelsea, you've just got to make sure that defensively you're solid. So we've looked at the Chelsea team, and they've got so many attacking threats. So they have to make sure they stop them from playing. And then if they do get a chance, they have to score. They've got to make sure that they're clinical in front of goal.
Can you see anything but a Chelsea win tonight, Rachel?
I think ultimately, Chelsea's play will wear them down. I think they will have a lot of opportunities, but Sunderland do need to be sure at the back, and I'm sure that their tactic will be to counter attack and look for Beth Mead's quality to, those 1-2 limited chances they may get, she'll be able to finish.
Well, Chelsea can take heart in the fact that Manchester City at the moment are drawing at half-time elsewhere in the WSL. Chelsea are looking to bounce back from 2 defeats. Sunderland are looking for their first win of the season. Kick-off is after this break. Welcome back to Wheatsheaf Park. The defending champions Chelsea are taking on Sunderland this evening. Sue Smith and Rachel Brown-Finnis alongside me before kick-off. Sue, we talked about perhaps Chelsea's best 11 we're seeing tonight. Perhaps if it isn't quite working, what does Emma Hayes do then?
I think they've still got quality on the bench. I think the likes of Beth England, I think she can come on. She can play either up front or she can play in the middle. Excellent player who can make things happen. And I think if physically things aren't going well, you've got the likes of Millie Bright, Drew Spence. So she's still got quality players on the bench to bring on and make a difference.
I suppose we didn't talk about it too much, but Carlton Fairweather has also changed his team lineup a little bit, and we see Abby Holmes on the bench this time.
Yeah, Abby Holmes has been a mainstay, one of the first players on the team sheet for Sunderland, but changes made has brought Danielle Brown in, who's don't know much about her. She's only 17 years old, come through the academy, but what she will bring that unfortunately Abby Holmes doesn't is pace, and I think that's possibly what Carlton Fairweather's been looking at, because Abby Holmes has been done for pace on occasions. He's also brought in Kelly McDougall in midfield, who I think will be pulling the strings, a very experienced player.
Okay, well, let's get to our commentary team then. Lucy Ward and Adam Summerton.
Thank you, Natalie. Good evening, everyone. Well, it's often said great sides have an inbuilt ability to bounce back, and that's exactly what the WSL champions need to do tonight. No doubt still hurting from 2 big defeats in less than a week. It's an opportunity for Chelsea to hit back, although Sunderland might feel they're catching Emma Hayes' side at a good time We'll find out in due course if that's true or not. But there's no doubt in Carlton Fairweather's team are also under big pressure. Overachievers last season, it's the opposite so far this time round. Still yet to win. Beaten convincingly by Liverpool in their last run out. This is a group keen to prove that they not only belong at this level, but can also thrive in the top flight. Getting a result at the home of the champions would certainly be a way to prove their doubters wrong. The venue tonight, Wheatsheaf Park, also home to Staines FC, who play in the 7th tier of English football, and with a capacity of just over 3,000. Let's have a look at the teams then. Emma Hayes is attempting to rediscover a winning formula for Chelsea, and she's made 3 changes to the side that started their defeat to Manchester City. Jisoo Yeon, Gemma Davison and Karen Carney were all second-half subs in that game, but all 3 start tonight. Out go Beth England, Drew Spence and Millie Bright. Anya Luco, Claire Rafferty and Katie Chapman have all been left out of the latest England squad, announced earlier today. The Sunderland coach, Carlton Fairweather, has made 2 changes to the 11 that began their 4-0 loss to Liverpool. Abby Holmes and Rachel Furness moved to the bench. In at right back comes 17-year-old Danielle Brown, while the experienced Kelly McDougall comes into the midfield. Both are making their first league starts of the season.
Now, Chelsea have picked probably the most attacking lineup, including all 5 of the top quality attacking options. This leaves a lot of defensive responsibility to Katie Chapman, who will be very disciplined in front of the back 4. This team will keep the ball well and have an abundance of goal-scoring talent. Sunderland will play a solid system and try and stall Chelsea and hope to hit them on the counter with the speed and finishing of Beth Mead. They'll be looking to stop the stream of goals conceded in recent games, so it's paramount that the back 4 and defensive midfielders are compact and strong.
Katie Chapman, one of the most decorated players in women's football, formerly of Arsenal, and now a key figure in Chelsea's midfield. She has been capped 94 times by England. And there is the man, Mark Sampson, the England head coach, who has decided to leave Katie Chapman out of his latest squad, which was announced earlier today. About as reliable as they come, Steph Bannon has played in every minute of Sunderland's season so far and has captained the team for 9 years. First taking the armband at the age of 18 will be really important for them as ever tonight. The referee tonight is Robert Whitten. His assistants Tristan Reeves and James Hurst, the 4th official Ryan Atkin. Chelsea's players have had 6 days to get their heads together after 2 damaging defeats in less than a week. But you have to say, the Blues' problems look pretty minor compared to Sunderland's right now. Haven't won any of their last 10 WSL games. 5 draws, 5 defeats. Their last league win in July of 2015. The mid-season break to follow for both Chelsea and Sunderland, each eager to go into that on a high. Emma Hayes' side will surely see this as an opportunity to restore confidence, signal their intent to push Man City all the way. A win at the home of the champions could be the spark that ignites Sunderland's season, Lucy Wood.
Yeah, definitely. I think this game's important for both teams. Chelsea have lost the last 2 really, really important games, and it's just see how they bounce back from it. Whereas Sunderland really don't want to get sucked into, after the season they had last year, don't want to get sucked into a relegation fight, which, you know, any team that goes into a losing or a not winning run, you know, they're vulnerable to it.
Manchester City certainly look like they are going to take some stopping. The champions Chelsea with little margin for error, the pressure on, and they know that they need to deliver. Here's G, recalled to the side today by Emma Hayes. Early touch for the captain Chapman as well. And this is Beth Mead, last season's top scorer in the WSL. Wide by Fahy. Early involvement here for Fran Kirby, who is being watched here closely by Williams. Having such a fine season, the former Reading player, Kirby. Davison with Luco central. Really good challenge from Brooke Chaplin at the expense of a corner.
I already see the shape that Sunderland are having when Chelsea have the ball, trying to be as compact as possible with no space. They know what these Chelsea players are capable of and really don't want to concede early.
Coming into this game off the back of those two damaging defeats, how Chelsea would love a good start here, and they had the opportunity to get one. Gilly Flaherty with an excellent opportunity. It was a great ball in there.
They've always got Flaherty in there and Katie Chapman, who can get on the end of any sort of good ball in there. She just got underneath it, and Bannon did enough. But they are a threat from set pieces.
Flaherty, a three-time WSL winner, one with Chelsea, two with Arsenal, capped 5 times by England. Now she used to be referred to as England's best uncapped player by Emma Hayes. Can't say that now. It certainly is so important at the back for the Blues. Last week's WSL defeat to Manchester City was Chelsea's first league loss since losing to the same opposition in July of 2015, that also at Wheatsheaf Park. Emma Hayes, one of 2 female head coaches in the WSL, a management career that spans more than a decade now. Certainly has done a great job at Chelsea.
Well, she knows that teams are not going to lay down and die when her team play against them, that the standard has increased over the last couple of seasons. So they've just got to keep improving, and I think the result at Man City, she was happy with the performance, but they didn't get the result they wanted, and there are always going to be tough games, but see, anything can happen. There are other teams in the league that I think can take points off both Chelsea and Man City.
All that Rafferty just a little loose there from Carney. Rafferty, Chelsea's longest serving current player. Saying how when she first joined the club from Millwall in 2007, they just trained 2 nights a week. How different it is now, full time. Carney almost worked it through to G. The clearance was by Williams. Appeared to Beth Mead. Sliding in was Rafferty.
Every time the ball's played into Beth Mead, she has 2 or 3. She has the 2 centre halves, and she's also got Katie Chapman on her heels as well. And if she's got no players around her, it's very, very difficult to get it under control and then play others in there. And that's what Chelsea will try and do, negate the threat of Beth Mead going forward.
Fahy. Now Chapman. Sunderland's loss to Liverpool by 4-0 was their heaviest league defeat since losing by the same scoreline, actually, to Chelsea on the final day of last season when the Blues clinched the title. To respond today, the Lady Black Cats. This is Rafferty, left back a long way forward.
It's pretty easy to see the pattern of play. Sunderland are not going to be too adventurous, I wouldn't suspect, and be compact and try and win the ball, cut down the space for Chelsea. But Chelsea have got to take, if they're going to win this game, they've got to take the play to Sunderland and try and stretch them a little bit and just be patient.
Return ball asking a lot of Beth Mead. All the way back here with Hedvig Lindahl, the Swedish international in goal for Chelsea. This is Hannah Blundell, who's an England under-23 international. G. Carney. So much talent right throughout this Chelsea side. Imagine finding the right blend must be a difficult thing to do. It's a very attacking side picked tonight by Emma Hayes, really going for it. They need to as well. Might yet be the opportunity as well to close the gap on Manchester City. Last we heard they were still goalless with Liverpool in the other game going on in the WSL tonight. It would be their first drop points of the season. Mead here has brought it down well and has Roach in support. Great chance! And she's taken it! What a composed finish that was! And Sunderland take the lead here in emphatic fashion. Great setup by Mead, but Roach did have a lot to do.
See, and that's a danger of Beth Mead. If you allow her to get hold of the ball, her ability, and she's dangerous to score herself, but also to bring others into it. And Chelsea that concerned with Beth Mead. They didn't really be aware of Steph Roach, and what a finish that is. I thought, take a touch, make sure that you're going to put it in the bottom corner, but what a terrific start from Sunderland. They've been compact, they've defended well in the opening minutes, and when they've got the chance to put it away, and that's what it's all about, and I'm sure that's what their game plan was. Terrific finish.
First chance that Sunderland have had, and it results in Steph Roach's first WSL goal. An Irish international who has a reputation for the spectacular. You might remember she was runner-up in the FIFA Puskas Award for the best goal in 2014. Nominated along with the likes of James Rodriguez, who won it ultimately, and Robin van Persie as well. That was a really composed finish.
Yeah, very confident in her own technical ability to be able to strike a ball like that first time and to score it with such a terrific finish. But that's, I think, Sunderland's game plan. They're going to be compact, they're not going to concede space because of how dangerous Chelsea are going forward. But when they do get it, you've got to be ruthless with it, and that's exactly what they were.
How will the champions respond? Sent in there by Carney, it's a good header. And they're on terms almost immediately. And it's the captain leading by example. Katie Chapman makes it 1-1.
It's too easy a goal to concede for Sunderland. They've got themselves and the noses in front, and what I said before, set pieces, Chapman and Flaherty really good, and all she needed to do was just direct the header into the corner, gets herself in front of Kelly McDougall, free header really, and just guide it into the top corner. It's a good finish with her head. Back on equal terms now, and Sunderland didn't really use that to their advantage, got the noses in front and then conceded, and they always knew they were going to be a threat to concede against Chelsea, but they have to make best use of the chances and be thorough defensively.
It's a really open contest. What a frustration it will be to Carlton Fairweather down on the Sunderland bench, that having taken the lead in such a great way, they concede from a set piece where they've had the opportunity to get organised.
Yeah, there is a saying about being most vulnerable after you've scored, but when you're defending against a set piece, it's important that you're professional and you do things right, and Kate Chapman didn't really do anything special to get herself in a position to score the goal. It was a great finish, but you've got to defend better than that, and you're not going to get many chances going forward. I wouldn't think so, Sunderland, the way that they're playing and set up, but it makes for a great start to the game anyway.
Just 98 seconds between those two goals. The first, Steph Roach's first in the WSL this season. Sunderland trying to ask more questions here.
And all the work here was done by Beth Mead. She got hold of the ball, she had a look up, seen Steph Roach right into the corner, and that is a really good finish, just guided it past. I think goalkeeper Lindahl probably wish that she'd done a little bit better, but good first touch. And then the set piece straight away, hit back Chelsea. Simple, ball into Chapman, she will attack the ball if it's there.
Katie Chapman's second league goal of the season. One of the most decorated players in women's football, the Chelsea captain. There's been a lot of frustration at Chelsea in the last couple of weeks. The team used to winning back-to-back defeats, a real shock to the system, you'd imagine, but I have to say, keeping things in perspective, they've won 9 of their last 10 league matches, scoring 30 goals and conceding only 8, so it'd be hard-pushed to suggest there's any sort of crisis. Here's Aluko, who's been relatively quiet so far, but can burst into action. Blundell. Kirby. Chapman. Blundell, the right back, has played every minute of every game so far this season, going on the outside. And it broke for Carney, just misjudged it slightly.
That's a really, really good piece of skill on that right-hand side from Hannah Blundell there to get into space, to get the cross across. I'm really impressed with her at right back. She's done well the last couple of seasons. And Karen Carney, of course, will be looking to herself to get on the score sheet. She's in a little bit more of a central position, probably one that she quite enjoys. She can wander around, get the ball off G. We'll see whether she can score the goals that get Chelsea the win.
9 points between these two sides with 5 games played. There was a 12-point gap at the end of last season. It was Sunderland's first campaign in the WSL. Chelsea crowned champions for the first time. Touched by Mead. Sent forward by Bannon, the Sunderland skipper, but it falls here for G. Looking to send Aluko on her way. Well, there is a suggestion that Sunderland are a little unhappy about the free kick decision which led to the equalising goal.
Yeah, no, he doesn't seem happy. I think it's a little bit of an easy free kick, not really touched by Brown. However, that doesn't excuse the marking, and there's nobody in the hole to defend that free kick. And he knows how important it is. Now that everything goes their way in this game if they're going to get anything out of it.
Sunderland ladies manager since December 2014, Carlton Fairweather, had been working in the club's youth academy for around a decade before his appointment. This is Mead, trying to seek out Roach again. Up against Blundell here. The Irish international gets the crossover, it was decent too.
Tell you what, when you put a ball across like that, somebody has to get on the end of it. It's so annoying when it doesn't happen. Great ball.
Gemma Davison. Kirby waiting inside the penalty area, as is Aluko, and it's going to be a corner to Chelsea.
That's a threat that Chelsea have. In 1 second, Sunderland are attacking and put a great ball in, and then all of a sudden they get into this position with Gemma Davison, have such pace, it just knocks the ball, and the last touch there was with Brown. So within a matter of seconds, Davison had got the ball and she got herself her team a corner.
Such a tricky winger, Gemma Davison. WSL winner with 3 clubs in Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea. In comes the corner, and it's Chapman who gets her head to it again, and Kirby was in there too.
So it just shows you, if you can just get some sort of head to it, even if it's not, just as long as it's goal bound, just the problems that Katie Chapman caused there by then, just an opportunity there for Fran Kirby to just twist and get the ball past Laws, but just couldn't do it. The corner conceded.
Player who senses opportunities so well, Fran Kirby. Scored twice in a 4-0 victory against today's opposition last October. Almost on the score sheet again there. The header clear was by Roach, who opened the scoring here tonight at Wheatsheaf Park. But Chelsea, 98 seconds later, on terms through the captain Chapman. Aluko has done really well here. Header clear was by the Sunderland skipper Bannon. Breaks for Kirby. It's run here for Carney. The back of Tori Williams. This is G. Carney. The goalkeeper's come a long way here, and it's off the crossbar. But the flag had already gone up. Wouldn't have counted.
That's good defending by Sunderland there, but also by Chelsea. They kept the ball moving. You know, G releases it, gets it out wide. Carney puts the ball in, and that's a good decision, offside. But Laws decided to come, and there was no way she was getting anywhere near that, particularly with Julie Flaherty jumping up. Just a let off for Sunderland there.
Rachel Laws, the Sunderland goalkeeper, has been saying how she believes that the team need to step up in tandem. Says they need to stick to their game plan and trust that it will work. Everyone talking before this game, and understandably so, about how big it is for Chelsea to keep up the pressure on Manchester City, but it is also a very different reason, so important for Sunderland as well. They would have been so pleased with that start they made and so frustrated that they let the lead slip so quickly.
Oh, they've just got to keep going and defend how they have been doing. It's just difficult against this Chelsea team, just full of people who can score goals.
There's threats right throughout the team, isn't there? And this is one of them. G playing at the wrong side of Annie Aluko.
The more space that Sunderland deny in terms of the pattern of play and the defending, the harder it gets for Chelsea to get through that. And all Chelsea do, and which they are doing, to be fair to them, is keeping the ball moving on the edge of the area in the final third, just to try to drag Sunderland players out there.
It's good Good run by Carney. Aluko with the layoff here to G. He might be tempted to have a go. The header clear was by Victoria Williams. Roach with the long ball forward towards Mead. It will be a free kick to Sunderland.
She started this game well. Beth Mead, you know, she knew at times she'd probably be isolated because of the way that her team set up. But they got their goal from the way that she collects the ball and then is a threat when she's running at people.
Scored an 18-minute hat-trick in a 4-0 victory over Chelsea last July. I was intrigued to see at the start of the season she said that she just wanted to prove that she wasn't a one-season wonder.
Since goal scoring is all about confidence, and you know, she had lots of confidence last year and she just wants to make sure she continues it. She is a good player. You know, she's probably disappointed that she hasn't got an England cap yet. That may come, and we'll see how she does this season as well.
It's named the PFA's Young Player of the Year. Beth Mead also included in the Team of the Year. In fact, we've got 4 players who are in that Team of the Year on the pitch tonight. The others all from Chelsea, and Lindahl, Fahy and G. Headed by Williams. Roach. Mead. McDougall getting forward, as is Ramshaw here. He was in a straight race to get to that before Chapman, and it was the Chelsea captain who won that race. And now it's Karen Carney, formerly of Birmingham City. And spotted the run here of Aluko. What a pass that was! Is the finish there as well? Smart stop by Rachel Laws. It looked like Aluko was in there.
When you've got a player with the pace of Aluko in your team, and Karen Carney, such a clever little ball this is. She just slid the ball. She knew. You see where Aluko starts off on the same level as Carney, but manages to get past the defender sharp. It just couldn't tribute the finish to it, Aluko, but great pace shown and a terrific ball from Karen Carney. That's when you know what your teammates can do. And Karen Carney, she knew where Aluko was. She knew where she could end up in terms of her pace, and you know, no centre-half's going to keep up with her in that situation.
Kirby, Aluko getting involved again. Can she get a shot on target? She can, but it's saved again by Rachel Laws, but she will be determined to prove a point tonight, Annie Aluko, with Mark Sampson in the crowd, having been left out of this latest England squad.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she won't feel happy about it. That's for definite. She's got 100 caps, and you know, it's a little bit of a bruise to her ego. But you know, she's professional enough to keep performing for Chelsea. All she can do is perform for Chelsea, and if that's not to the England manager's liking, then there's nothing any Aluko can do about it. She's just got to keep playing well for Chelsea. But you know, it's probably a hammer blow for her. You know, because she's been in all the squads, but it seems to be taking a little bit of a different direction with this squad he's picked.
Yes, we'll only know in the fullness of time whether it's the right direction.
So football's about opinions. You know, everybody's got an opinion on Annie Aluko, but the majority of them will be that, you know, she's one of the best strikers in the country. But we'll see what happens in the future.
Carney, and now G, looking for Kirby. Laws was quickly out there.
Lots of quick thinking going on in this Chelsea team. G will thrive in this atmosphere. She's amongst players now. All 5 of them are playing, and this is the first time it's happened where she got played where they can keep the ball, Chelsea, and they can play little balls into Fran Kirby. She's very clever, Fran Kirby. She'd rather score that simple goal and make those movements on the shoulder of the centre halves.
So-yeon Ji, a 4-time Korean Footballer of the Year. 6 goals in 9 appearances in all competitions this season. Taken away from Kira Ramshaw. Karen Carney. Away from Ramshaw. Kirby central. This is Annie Aluko. Rafferty looking to get up in support from left back. Aluko with the cross in. That is a fantastic header. It really is textbook stuff from Fran Kirby. And Chelsea, having been worn down, that early scare, it was a test of their character. They're passing that test.
Yeah, you have to say that it's been coming, that goal, and just the way they've moved, they've not become frustrated. Annie Aluko's done terrific down this left-hand side. She's got the ball beyond and she runs at players and she gets the ball across. She gets past Brown, probably too easy. You see Kirby in the middle there. Nobody's marking her. And by the time Hayley Sharp has seen it, She's already decided where her header's going, and she's probably probably one of the smallest players on the pitch. But if you're free when the ball comes to you, and you have the quality she has over the keeper and in the back of the net, that's another good goal by Chelsea.
5 goals in 6 league games now this season for Fran Kirby, signed in July from Reading. Speaking to Emma Hayes about her, she believes that she can go on to be what she described a Chelsea great.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, she's infectious, another player that's infectious, and she can score goals, and she's proved that, you know, over the last few seasons, that you put her in front of goal and she'll score. And I think in a team like this, where you've got so many creative players as well, goal scorers and creative players, that she gets herself in front of goal and free just like that, and she'll score the goals.
What is also so noticeable about Fran Kirby is the work rate. Mead here, a race with Lindart, who gambled, and it paid off, but only just. Carney.
So one of the best things about Beth Mead is that you're never comfortable as a defender with her around. She will never stop running, she'll never stop putting you under pressure, so there's always that risk to Chelsea that she's the outlet. If you're going to play in a compact way, you've got to have a threat, and she is that threat, and she's a real threat for Sunderland, because she just doesn't let players rest.
Flaherty. It's been such a long time since Sunderland's last WSL away win at Bristol City back in July of last year. They're always likely to have their work cut out tonight against the champions, who are looking to prove a point. Certainly would have been full of hope after that early goal from Steph Roach. Brown.
See, when there's turnover of possession, Sunderland need to be much more careful with that first pass, because they keep giving it away and they're just putting themselves under pressure. When they get the ball back, just make sure with that, be certain about that first pass and keep possession, because at the moment they're just giving it back to Chelsea, and then Chelsea are countering and, you know, and getting in front of goal.
There's word from the touchline that Chelsea might be looking to make a change shortly. Claire Rafferty, the left back, struggling with an injury, and it's Anna Borges who is being lined up to come on here for Emma Hayes' side. Ramshaw looking to combine here with Danielle Brown, the 17-year-old. Up against Rafferty, who is, as we've said, carrying a knock, it would seem. Gets the pass away here to Eni Aluka. Great first touch by the captain, Chapman. Davison. This time ball by Carney. G. Now Chapman. And clearly suffering here. Rafferty, the reason why it was put out of play there by Chapman. Well, not been a good day at all, has it, for the Chelsea left back. Rafferty has been left out of this latest England squad. No doubt will have been very disappointed about that, and you just hope that this isn't a serious problem for it.
Yeah, it's probably like a little knock over the side of her thigh or a hamstring. She has had problems with her knees before. Let's hope it's not anything serious to do with her knee. I think it was from a sprint here, and she just reached out. You could just see there she wasn't particularly comfortable afterwards.
Has suffered 3 cruciate knee injuries in the past. There's Claire Rafferty, an economics graduate at Loughborough University, and there is Anna Borges, who is going to be coming on imminently here for Chelsea, a Portuguese international signed from Atletico Madrid in June of 2014. Has made 3 league appearances this season, 2 of them as a substitute, capped more than 70 times by her country.
Substitution for Chelsea,
Wish Claire Rafferty well. On comes Anna Borges. We will look to whet the appetite for this weekend's Champions League final with a special preview show coming up on Friday. That is from 6:30 on BT Sport Europe. Then just under 24 hours later, our coverage of the final begins. Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid, live from San Siro. What a game that should be. Samtol being applied to the left hamstring of Claire Rafferty. For relief with her previous history that it doesn't seem to be a knee issue. Rachel Laws with the clearance for Sunderland. Helped on by Ramshaw. Taken down here by Flaherty and back with Lindar. Fahy. Carney. That's Carney again. He's worked with Emma Hayes before. Opportunity here for Kirby, and now G can strike it. The build-up by Chelsea. Easy on the eye at times.
And the involvement from Karen Carney as well. That's two good balls she's put through. One there to Frank Kirby, whose touch was very, very good. Just brought G in, just couldn't hit the target. Again, you can just see the quality that they have, Chelsea, and when all five of them are playing and they move the ball really quickly, 1 and 2 touches, difficult to deal with as a defender.
Chelsea, perhaps unlike Sunderland, able to target some of the best talent around there. Incoming transfers over the off-season, Karen Carney and Becky Spencer, both from Birmingham, Jade Bailey from Arsenal, Beth England from Doncaster. What did you make of those additions, Lucy?
Well, it just strengthens them. I mean, they were champions last year and they just wanted to make sure that they were up there again this year. But, you know, quite a lot of the time, one of them or two of them have been sitting on the bench who would get in any other team in the WSL, and I think that's been a challenge for Emma Hayes. Tonight, they're all playing apart from Beth England, who was a younger player. So now Emma Hayes has laid down the gauntlet to them, and if you all want to play, you've got to play well and you've got to win, and win in style, and at the moment that's what they're doing.
It's been a great comeback from them, having conceded that goal to Sunderland through Roach after 6 minutes. There's certainly plenty of ice has been applied to that left hamstring.
When you have a cruciate, I don't know what they use, but if you use a hamstring tendon in a cruciate, then she obviously had 3 operations. You do tend to struggle with your hamstring sometimes, and she obviously feels that it might be a little bit more serious than maybe a couple of weeks. It's not good though, it's not been a good day for her now. I think this probably didn't help matters, coming off injured.
Wasn't involved in the cup final either. Blundell, and now G. So much movement in front of the South Korean here. G gets it back again off Flaherty. Anna Blundell. Aluko. Kirby trying to return it to Aluko. This time the hard work of Fran Kirby earns Chelsea a corner.
Sunderland are under pressure. You don't get to see the attacking prowess of the likes of Brooke Chaplin. I've been impressed with her the last couple of times I've seen her going forward, but she's not been allowed. She's been sat as one of the 3 in the midfield, and you know that's where Sunderland are at the moment, defending and looking to go forward and break as soon as they win the ball back.
Kirby loitering, Chapman forward, as is Flaherty. It was Chapman who got ahead to that, knocked down by Flaherty, and sent in by Aluko. Davison. Decided to move away from the bench then. Claire Rafferty perhaps go and get some treatment down in the dressing room area. I guess the last thing that you want, and clearly, as you've said, Lucy, she's not had the greatest of days, or perhaps just want to be out of public gaze, you would think.
Yeah, just a bit. You know, she wanted to come and play tonight and prove what a good left back she is, and you know she is, and she's the queen of comebacks as well. You know, coming back and playing at this level for the champions after 3 cruciate knee injuries. I've had 1, and it's a nightmare. The rehab is really thorough and really intense, and to go through that 3 times and come back and still play to the level she plays at, you know, has got to be applauded.
It's not that long ago, is it, that it used to end careers? I'll just tell you about some live rugby that we have coming up. We'll be at Twickenham on Saturday afternoon for the Aviva Premiership final. Saracens against Exeter is live from 2 o'clock on BT Sport 1. And England's group stage campaign at the Toulon tournament ends against Japan on Friday. Gareth Southgate's Young Lions hopeful of reaching the final of that tournament in the south of France. In terms of a Sunderland perspective, if we look at their season as a whole, you have to ask what's happened to all the goals, really. Only scored 5 times, including today's, in the WSL season. Last season they hit 24. Only Chelsea and Manchester City, the top 2, scored more than them.
It took a lot of teams by surprise last year, and then obviously confidence breeds even more confidence, and you know, at the moment they're just figuring it out how they're going to approach the rest of this season. They've not done too bad in terms of the points that they've got.
G and Kirby might still get a chance here. Just tried to poke it towards goal, but Rachel Laws, not for the first time tonight, got in the way.
Yeah, you just can't leave Fran Kirby alone. Danielle Brown tried to just let the ball go back to a keeper or out for a goal kick, and you can't do that. You see Fran Kirby just goes around the other side and manages to get a foot to it, and goalkeeping by Rachel Laws in the end.
Doesn't give defenders any respite at all, does she? Effervescent Kirby.
2 similar attackers in stature as well, her and Beth Mead on the pitch tonight. Centre halves will know that being in a game for both teams.
Kirby's move from Reading to Chelsea, reportedly a British record fee, although it was officially undisclosed. Scored the first Champions League goal in Chelsea's history against Glasgow City. And on the score sheet tonight, Kirby, the goal that is the difference between these 2 teams.
So when Sunderland get the ball forward, they have done now with Williams, there's big gaps between the midfield and the back 4. The back 4 really need to squeeze up. There's no support, and then Chelsea get it, and they get it between the lines and can counter really quickly. Just need to squeeze those lines up a bit, and the back 4 need to be really switched on when they get the ball forward and just push up to the halfway line as quick as possible.
Carney's pass intended for Kirby, but it gave her a lot to do. I have to say it's a little bit reminiscent, Lucy, of another game we saw live on BT Sport when Sunderland were beaten by Manchester City at home.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, similar sort of quality, Man City and Chelsea, and you know, and if they're patient, then you know that quality wins out in the end. But you know, Sunderland are defending tonight, I think, better than they did that night against Man City. A lot more organised, good shape.
Luco!
And what you get is players like Aluko gets in behind defenders. As soon as she does that, she's through on goal, and she just cannot get the finish. It was a good strike, but I think she sliced across the ball. You'll see from this angle, just hit her foot across the ball, which just meant went the wrong side for Chelsea with a goal.
Just over 10 minutes to go before half-time. Sharp sends it forward. Headed by Chapman. Flaherty finds Hannah Blundell here. G. Flaherty. G getting on the ball again. So much of Chelsea's play does go through the South Korean international. Blundell's pass intercepted, the clearance by Williams. Plodded forward in turn by Fahy. G. Carney looking to move through the gears here. Chelsea playing, passing with a bit of pace. Sent long by Chaplin. And I think we saw the problem that you've been referring to again there for Carlton Fairweather's side, that the Mead is starting to look a bit isolated, or maybe need to move up the pitch a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, 2 things. That when they win the ball back, that first pass, they've got to keep it. And also when they do get it forward, the two lines, the back four and the midfield, all get up the pitch, because if only one of the banks does it, then you've got massive spaces that the likes of Carney and G will get into and hurt you.
I'd made a point at the start of this season, Carlton Fairweather, of saying that he was mindful of what he called that second season syndrome. Said the main objective was always to get the points required to stay up. Then they would reassess things, look at new targets. Davison, Kirby and Davison, blocked by Sharp. Enialuko, well defended by Tori Williams. Very strong on the edge of her area there. The Sunderland left back. Cleverly wins the throw in too.
Yeah, she did well. Tori Williams there, she's a strong defender, usually a centre half, but she can play left back, and it's difficult to get past as a striker, even if you're quick. She did well there.
Former Chelsea player, actually. Just made 5 league appearances for the Blues in the 2012 season. Borges. Straight out, Rachel Laws. Certainly has a chance to impress this though tonight for the Portuguese international Borges, with Rafferty having to go off with what looks like a hamstring injury. Important touch there from Blundell.
You get a bit of success Sunderland when they get the ball wide. A willing runner, Roach, and Blundell likes to get forward, so there is that space behind it.
Williams forward to take the throw in here for Sunderland. Bannon going all the way back to Rachel Laws, under pressure by Carney. Taken down well here by Beth Mead. Chaplin, Sharp. This is Steph Bannon. Volleyed forward by Borges. Davison. Brown, the covering defender here for Sunderland. Chaplin. Staniforth sends it wide here to Tori Williams. Lucy Staniforth again. A Liverpool player. Headed by Ramshaw, trying to seek out Beth Mead. Watched by Flaherty. Couldn't get it into a decent area there, the centre forward Beth Mead.
She's done everything Sunderland have asked of her. Every time it's come to her, she's held it up. Sometimes when a difficult ball's been played to her, she's always that threat.
Borges. Carney. Aluko. Chapman hit a bit of space here, the Chelsea captain, who got the equalising goal after Sunderland had taken the lead. But Chaplin going back to Rachel Laws. Carney. Aluko was calling for it, but Williams got in the way. Well aware that Aluko was right behind her there, Tori Williams. Chaplin. And now Bannon.
Sunderland just taking a sting out of the game the last couple of minutes, got a few passes together, got a bit of rhythm to the play and got the ball off Chelsea. And that's important for them.
The champions finish this first half strongly here. That 1-goal advantage given to them by Frank Kirby. Aluko looking to go on the outside. Blundell, the right back, just couldn't quite get there before Tori Williams.
So when they start to venture forward, Sunderland, that's what happens. There's massive spaces that Chelsea will capitalise on. And it's difficult to defend when you're out of shape.
Sunderland's defensive frailties will have been a big concern to Carlton Fairweather, conceding on average 2 goals per game at the moment, 10 in 5. It gives Beth Mead and the other forward-thinking players a lot of work to do at the other end, clearly, if they're to get results. Davison. And towards Aluko. It's Williams there again. Sunderland, who's had a good first half in that left-back area. Kirby. G. It's fallen fortunately here for G again, and Carney will hit it! Decent effort, rather straight at the goalkeeper in the end, who really didn't need to move too much, Rachel Laws.
She's had a good half. Karen Carney just on the end of a couple of chances, just dropped to her here. She tries to curl it round Rachel Laws, didn't get enough width on it. It's worth an effort.
Spent the last 5 seasons with Birmingham City, Karen Carney. And just to let you know that it has finished in that game between Liverpool and Manchester City goalless, so Manchester City, who have been looking so strong at the top of the table, still remain 4 points clear, but they've lost now their 100% record. That's finally gone. And imagine that word will get through to the Chelsea players at half-time about that. It's a good opportunity, this, for them to close the gap a bit.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a great point for Liverpool, who I've seen, you know, they've had some really good results and some really bad results. But like we say, it isn't a crisis. They lost against Man City. They wanted to beat Man City. But it's not a crisis, because anything can happen. Teams will take points off each of the ones that you don't expect, just like tonight.
She had said, in fairness to her, Emma Hayes, that she expected that there would be twists and turns, that City would inevitably drop points. And there is always that feeling with City that if they did have injury problems, that could really hurt them. Good ball in to Davison, hurt them more than many other clubs because of the fact that they've got a pretty small squad. They've gone for quality over quantity, really.
Yeah, they have, and they don't have the selection issues that the other top teams have, but it's worked for them, because I don't think they've conceded a goal. But, you know, they know as well that, you know, Chelsea are going to drop more points as well. That's why it's exciting. You know, it's exciting at the top and it's exciting at the bottom.
Certainly the WSL has provided us with some thrilling title races going down to the final day. It will be the same case this season. G, I think Chelsea would take that right now. Loose pass is picked up here by Mead, who really needs some sort of support, and did well in the end just to win the free kick, really.
She ended up with nearly 6 players around it, so you have to get something out of it, and what she got out of it was a free kick. It'd be difficult to get herself past Flaherty in the end. She came back and made an attacker's challenge. Just a bit of respite for Sunderland, and a chance as well.
Right in the last knockings of this first half at Wheatsheaf Park. Well, we know from experience that Steph Roach can hit them. Can they work? Hedvig Lindahl here. Lucy Staniforth stood over this as well for Sunderland, but it is Steph Roach. Just didn't really get any power behind it. Comfortable, really, for Lindahl.
A real test for Lindahl there. Steph Roach just played it safe a little bit and didn't really put that much power behind it. It's an opportunity, and you know, Sunderland have got to make the best use of the set pieces that they do get in this game.
Gilly Flaherty. Davison. Here's Chapman. Supported by Borges. Six out Davison instead. Just over a minute to go at the end of this first half in added time, and it's with Carney. G just has that knack of finding space. The South Korean international. Beth Mead did really well to win that. Ramshaw. Bannon finds Williams. Staniforth. Picked up here by Davison. And now G opens up for the shot and it's deflected. Will be a corner, but well, it was all of Sunderland's own making really there.
Just a lack of concentration. They need to keep going to half-time, keep it just a 1-goal difference between them. Chelsea just really close to capitalising. Keep it tight until half-time.
Surely this will be the last act of the first half here. Sunderland with just about everybody back. And it was another good chance from a set piece for the centre-half, Flaherty.
And that's an effort that Flaherty usually puts away. For her, that's a free header. And she just couldn't get the direction right. Again, just got herself underneath it.
There goes the half-time whistle. What a great start it was for Sunderland. Steph Roach with her first WSL goal for the club, gave them the lead after 6 minutes, but 98 seconds later, Katie Chapman, the Chelsea captain, got her side on terms. And then Fran Kirby with her 5th league goal of the season after 21 minutes, but Chelsea in front, just a 1 goal in it at the break. It is Chelsea ladies 2, Sunderland ladies 1.
Welcome back to Surrey. It's half-time here in the WSL. We are 3 days away from the Champions League final. Well, we have a Champions League final preview for you on Friday evening from 6:30 on BT Sport Europe. And then almost 24 hours later, it is the all-Spanish final. Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid. Our coverage starts on Saturday at 6 p.m. It also in ultra-high definition. Here it is 2-1 to Chelsea at half-time. And in case you missed it, it finished Liverpool 0, Manchester City 0 up on Merseyside. Sue Smith and Rachel Brown-Finn is here with us, and that will be crucial. I'm just wondering whether Chelsea will hear about that result. Would you have wanted to know at half-time the other results?
No, I don't think so, and I don't think Emma Hayes will tell them either. I think it's a case of focus on this game, do your job, and then find out about what's happened in other games. But yeah, it's a big result, and I think we spoke earlier, didn't we, that things will happen in other games and teams will take points off other teams, and Liverpool are playing well at the minute. They just seem to have come into form, so it was probably a good time for Manchester City to play against Liverpool for Chelsea.
Liverpool will be delighted by taking a point from Manchester City. We talked very heavily, Rachel, about the formation of Chelsea and how differently they looked tonight. How do you think it's worked? Do you think it caught them off guard? Because we almost immediately saw a goal, didn't we, concede right in Chelsea?
Well, we did, and I think it was a lack of concentration from the Chelsea centre-halves. They'd done a lot of attacking, and it really was the first attack for Sunderland. I mean, we see it's really kind of a speculative ball in from Kelly McDougall. Beth Mead draws 2 players. Hannah Blundell is drawn out of position from right back, gets drawn across. We see better from this angle. She doesn't need to come and attack the ball. Gilly Flaherty has got control of Beth Mead there. As she does that, she leaves Steph Roach, which is an absolute sublime first-time finish. I think it was her first touch of the game, really. And she slotted it with power, pace and precision right into the bottom corner, giving Hedvig Lindahl absolutely no chance. Dream start for Sunderland.
Is that an example of what we were talking about before the game, in that perhaps teams didn't know what Sunderland were about until the end of the season, and the ball was going to Beth Mead? They've concentrated on Beth Mead, giving Roach acres of space, and she's got that support now. Yeah,
absolutely, and I think Beth Mead really shows the class and the composure that maybe Mark Sampson, England head coach, is looking for. She's showing that maturity to get a touch on the ball, quickly get a head up, and see that Steph Roach was completely free, and to play her a ball that she could just drill first time was important.
Well, if it took Chelsea a few minutes to get their formation kind of in line, they certainly responded after that goal very, very quickly, didn't they, Steve? But was it a foul leading up to the free kick?
See, I don't think so. I think the only thing that the official could have given the foul for was maybe there was a pull on the shirt, but I think it wasn't a great sort of foul, from their behalf. But I think what a great ball in from Karen Carney, and Katie Chapman again just got across that defence. And I think Sunderland will be disappointed with that because they've scored the goal, they've got themselves in front. You've just got to try and secure and you've got to try and keep it tight.
It's too easy.
And Frank Kirby with a great header.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, for the second goal. I mean, it's great build-up play. We're starting to see kind of the forwards linking up here and seeing the pace of Eni Aluko take to the byline. Jinking Danielle Brown, who had a really good game in this first half, but a lovely little flick on, just redirects the ball, really, Frank Kirby. So you just see a little change of pace, pulls out, checks away, and really just directs that ball, and it couldn't have been a better finish. So I liked how we're starting to see likes of Ji So Young. Gemma Davison's been quite quiet, I would say, but Frank Kirby and Eni Aluko really linking up and playing some quality football.
And I suppose Aluko and not showing any signs of any hangover perhaps from the news of being dropped by England.
No, she hasn't, and you know that's all credit to her. She's shown a pace, she's shown a real quality in her part in that second goal, and yeah, certainly some character resilience she's shown today in the first half.
Okay, it is 2-1 here then to Chelsea. Still 45 minutes to play. We'll see how Sunderland respond in the second half. Join us after this break. Welcome back to Wheatsheaf Park. It's the second half here between Chelsea and Sunderland. Your commentators are Lucy Ward and Adam Summerton.
Thank you, Natalie. So Chelsea, after Manchester City's goalless draw with Liverpool earlier, can close the gap at the top to 4 points with a victory here, and they'd have a game in hand too. A big incentive for Emma Hayes' side in this second half. Sunderland, remember, still looking for their first win as well, and Kirby looking to get the Blues off to a great start at the beginning of this second half.
Obviously Chelsea intend to start this half as they finish the first half. It was a great run by Gemma Davison, and what a good first touch that was by Frank Kirby. It was powered at it.
Really is quite clearly a player absolutely brimming with confidence, Frank Kirby. Before she joined Chelsea last season, she'd scored 11 goals in 5 league appearances for Reading in the second tier. Great run forward here by the substitute Borges, and she's seen the run here from Kirby, who goes round the keeper, but the flag had gone up offside. Kirby just gone a fraction too early.
And that was over the first touch from Borges there. She took the ball and the pace of her. You see the movement. Frank Kirby's telling her where she wants to go. That doesn't look offside to me, but I would think for the assistant referee, as the quickness of it happening, difficult to see. Yeah, she's right, no way. So frustrating as a striker when you know that you've timed your run really well. The assistant referee's not quite as quick as you.
That is the other great thing about Frank Kirby, does play with a smile on her face, even when the decision perhaps unfairly goes against her. What do you think Emma Hayes will have made of that first half, Lucy?
I think she'll be overall be happy. I think she shouldn't look happy there, but it's just more of the same from her team. A team have passed it. You see, this is the team that will have wanted to play all the way along, where she's kept having to leave one out. This is the team. They're all in there. You know, all the attacking talent are in there. So they, like I said in the first half, they've got to show that they're competent enough. And I think they did. The way they moved the ball, how patient. It's all about being patient. And I think a message to them at half-time was just continue with your movement, with the quick passing, and just be patient and defend well, which, you know, Chelsea tend to do anyway.
I guess one of the tests going forward for Chelsea, Lucy, will they be able to play all of those players, all of those attacking threats against maybe one of the better sides, talking about an Arsenal, maybe a Manchester City?
No, probably not. I think it's a lot to ask of Katie Chapman against some of the teams in this league to play by herself in front of that back four. I mean, she is good, but you know, she needs the support of a Millie Bright or a Drew Spence, which means one of the 5 does have to drop out. I think it just depends on it, and it's horses for courses, and you know, for teams you've got to play your best team against a particular team you play. And I think Chelsea looked at Sunderland and thought, well, you know, they are conceding goals at the moment, and so therefore let's start on the front foot and go for them.
And back well there by Mead. McDougall stretching the play here and picking out Steph Roach. Showed too much of it to Davison, who was doing her defensive duties well.
It's good from Davison as an attacking player that she is. It's, you know, you've just got to get it in your head that you've got to defend when you've not got it, and that's what she did. She has the pace and she used it to help Blundell.
Started every league game this season, Gemma Davison, signed from Liverpool in November of 2014. Nice flick by Roach, but dealt with by Chelsea. The up and under from Chapman. Mead it was, looking to try and make something of that. Sharp finds Tori Williams. Good strength to hold off G, and then in turn Kirby. Certainly was the feeling in the Sunderland camp that they were very unlucky to lose as heavily as they did to Liverpool in their last game, 4-0 defeat. And they did actually, in fairness, have opportunities to go in front themselves in the game. Just got the impression, talking to Carlton Fairweather before the game, that he doesn't feel they're that far away.
Well, they're not, and it's a competitive league, so you only need to make 1 or 2 mistakes in a game and you're losing the 3 points. You're not getting that point. You know, but they've played all right tonight.
In it comes from Davison towards Aluko, and the clearance by Bannon, who was in the right place at the right time there. Miscontrolled by Chapman. Sent up towards Mead. Met by Fahy. Carney.
So difficult to defend against this Chelsea team, and you know they take it in turns to drop. Karen Carney, you know, he will know he's doing that sort of signal. Karen Carney just drops to pick the ball up, and if it's not her, it's G that drops, or Aluko. So as a defender, you've got to make a decision.
It was known as the level-headed one in Wimbledon's famous crazy gang. Carlton Fairweather survived 9 years at the club. Did summer coaching courses in the United States when he was still a player, actually, at Wimbledon. Picked up coaching tips from some of his managers there, the likes of Don Howe, Bobby Gould, Dave Bassett. Plenty of variety there. Here's Aluko.
I'm sure he's learnt more in the last however long managing Sunderland ladies than he did in all that time.
Roach. Staniforth. The width provided here by Kira Ramshaw, who hasn't really had too many opportunities to go up against Bourget since she came on at left back. Ramshaw certainly seeing more of the ball at the start of this second half, Sunderland, which will encourage Carlton Fairweather.
The game in itself is getting a little bit stressed and stretched, and you tend to think that this would favour Chelsea rather than Sunderland, because Sunderland did approach it with a certain compactness and trying to reduce the space, and it's just stretched a little bit, and they've just got to be wary of their defending and their defending shape and how much risk they're going to take to try and get themselves back in the game.
Sharp. It's Flaherty. Aluko. Carney. Close control from Karen Carney. Blundell. Davison. Chapman seeking out Aluko. Instant control from her. Bourget's here on the outside. Left by Aluko, picked up by G. Chapman. Are they building up to something here? Chelsea just runs away from Davison.
G just getting a little bit frustrated with Aluko there in terms of a movement. In fairness, it's difficult to find space. As soon as you get to the edge of Sunderland's area, if it's been a slow build-up, it's difficult to find the space, and the movement has to be so precise that you don't get caught offside.
This is a fixture that produced 2 4-0 scorelines last season, less than 3 months apart. The result going with home advantage each time. Chelsea winning the most recent meeting last October, clinching their first WSL title on the final day of last season. Clearance by Lindar. G. Borges. Now Carney. G looking for Kirby, two such intelligent, clever footballers. Aluko. Good save that by Laws. Could yet be another opportunity here for Chelsea. Next goal so important. Blundell. First time pass by Roach. And now Williams. This is Brooke Chaplin. There's a player, Brooke Chaplin, with the ability to really affect things in the final third of the pitch. Certainly has been playing pretty deep for the most part so far tonight.
Yeah, she's been playing a role for a team just to be disciplined, to not to concede much possession in front of the back four, but that sort of takes away what she has attacking wise. You know, we've seen quite a lot of it this season. She's been the main player, particularly at the start of the season, that gets the goals. It's just not happened in this game. And just see the persistence of Aluko in this particular, and the strength. That's good awareness by Fran Kirby, and then she drives into that space. Good strength there, holding off defender Brown. And just first to it reacting, that pace that she's got over the first couple of yards. I don't think there's many that are quicker in the league than that over those first 2 yards.
Blundell just beaten to that by Roach. Davis. Flaherty was found by Fahy. Certainly that one of Chelsea's big strengths, isn't it? That central defensive partnership. So much we talk about the attacking players, the likes of G and Aluko and Kirby, but with those two alongside each other, they're hard to break down, Chelsea.
Yeah, probably just as important, because you know they've got a good goalkeeper now, and these two are a 7 and 8 out of 10 every single game that they play. You know, just simple defending. Head it and kick it, pass it to somebody who's going to create something further up the pitch, and that's invaluable to Chelsea. And I think they've missed Fahy since she's been injured. I think Flaherty has as well.
Wasn't quite fit for the cup final, Niamh Fahy. And in the 2015 PFA Women's Team of the Year. Davison. Chapman. Blundell. Just alongside of Annie Aluko. Brooke Chaplin with a bit of space to work with for once. Always trying to find Beth Mead.
Constant encouragement from the Chelsea bench for the wide players, Aluko and Davison, to come in off the line. Encourage the fullbacks to go forward. It just congests it a little bit in the middle. It's just a way of getting the fullbacks further forward in attacking positions.
Taken out of play by Gemma Davison. Sunderland to reach the top flight in 2014, one of 3 teams in the WSL still yet to win a league game this season. The other 2 are newly promoted Doncaster and Reading. I guess perhaps it shows us, Lucy, what a big step up it is from the second tier.
It's a massive step up, but it's also about confidence, that the earlier that you can get your win and get points on the board, the better it'll be. And you know, you won't question yourself. The teams that have not won yet are always questioning, you know, whether they can be at this level and play at this level. And that first win is important, and the quicker you get it, the better. Some of these teams that have just come up, Bells and Reading, you know, they'll be looking to try and do that soon after the break as possible.
Davison with the ball in there, and Carney trying to make something of it. Just got away from a little bit. The corner is conceded by Tori Williams.
Karen Carney found herself in space there. We would have expected her to get a good shot on goal.
No contest, isn't it, in terms of the corner count, but just 1 goal in the scoreline. All importantly, as we approach the hour mark. We're appealing for handball there, some of the Chelsea players, but nothing doing from the referee, Robert Whitton. Davison.
It was Nifa who was just appealing there. It was her little volley. It's not really a position that she really finds herself in that often going forward, but you just see here, she was first to this ball, and straight afterwards, I think it did hit the hand of it. I mean, if a referee gives that handball, it's so difficult to get your hand out of the way when you're that close.
Davison loves to have that space to run into as a flying winger, and as a Luco in her sights here. Heavy first touch by Enia Luco. Mead looking to try and turn and get away from Borges, who's taking her opportunity at left back. It's been impressive since coming on for the injured Rafferty. Karen Carney going on the outside as she loves to do. It's a good crossover to Luco. And they're threatening here, the champions.
As the ball came over there from Aluko, found the space, Karen Carney for a cross. It's impressive for first bit of control, but good defending again. Sunderland, it's not often as Chelsea plays a lot of time in the box to get the bodies around there. Close again, Aluko.
Has looked lively, hasn't she, tonight, Enia Luco, putting aside that disappointment, having been left out of the latest England squad. Chapman. What an effort that is by Kirby. Very, very close indeed to what would have been a spectacular goal.
Tremendous effort by Kirby. I think it just shows when you're scoring goals for fun, then you'll try things that you probably wouldn't normally try had you not been in goal scoring form, and that's not far away. Right direction, and just couldn't dip it in time. Worth the effort.
Carlton Fairweather bringing off Ramshaw here. And it's Crystal Johnson, a really experienced player who's been brought on here by Carlton Fairweather, signed from Manchester City in February. Spent 8 years at City, making over 100 appearances for them.
I do like Johnston. I was impressed with her at Man City, and she probably just thought about a new challenge coming here to Sunderland, but I think she's been a bit unlucky with injuries. But definitely a wide player you would have in your team. Made quite a few appearances for Man City, and was a standout player on a couple of occasions I saw her.
Williams. Here's Aluko. Chip here seeking out G. Headed by Flaherty. Manchester City so far this season have just about had the edge on Chelsea, but Blues aren't having too many problems with the rest of the league. Between last season's defeat to Manchester City and this season's, Chelsea played 9 league games, winning all of them, scoring 30 goals in the process, averaging more than 3 goals per game. Really impressive numbers. They're still very much in a contest here.
There's a chance there for Sunderland to just let Beth Mead free, and it's just the wrong choice of pass from McDougall. Quite unlike her.
Blundell. Davison impeded. Really good opportunity here for Chelsea to send a few forward, but decided to play it short in the end, and it looks a good decision, doesn't it? Here's Carney. Sharp with the clearance. Well placed to make it too.
Well, that's better defending from Sunderland. Good ball in. Karen Carney's getting herself free on this right-hand side.
Blundell sends in the early cross. Gonna fall here for Aluko. Williams with the clearance for Sunderland. The flick on was by Roach. Beth Mead having to do so much running. getting so little service. Must be frustrating up top for the number 9 for Sunderland.
It is, but she just keeps going. You don't ever see her give up or stop that sort of level of intensity and work rate. She's got to be aware, Sunderland, that these players in midfield and fullbacks get the ball into her, or a space where she can actually get on the end of it.
Chapman. Chelsea utterly dominant, really, aren't they, in terms of possession here. Still just one goal in it, though. Might change here. Blundell. Movement provided by Aluko in the area. Davison straight away had Roach for attention. That's lovely skill by Davison. Stands up a decent cross too. G.
Flaherty's still up there. She's been up there since the last corner.
They would love the comfort of a 2-goal cushion here, the champions. Carney. G zipping it about nicely here, Chelsea. Kirby. We will look to whet the appetite for this weekend's Champions League final with a special preview show on Friday. That from 6:30 on BT Sport Europe. And just under 24 hours later, our coverage of the final begins. Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid, live from San Siro. Just a reminder as well that you can see that in 4K via our Ultra HD channel too. Kirby, and now Davison, looking to move it at pace here, Chelsea. Kirby has picked out G. It's a great first touch. Second is just wide. Super move that by the champions, who are showing their class.
I think if G's second touch was as good as her first touch, then there would have been 3-1 up. Chelsea, that right into her path, but she just couldn't get the angle right with a shot. Probably a weaker foot, if she has one. That's great build-up play, though, the way that Chelsea move the ball around, the movement of the strikers, particularly when they win the ball back and counter.
Scored 39 goals in 82 international appearances for South Korea. So-Yun Ji. The assistant coach at Chelsea, Paul Green, has said that he believes she will become a World Footballer of the Year in the future. Still only 25, perhaps more developing to do.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a lot to work on. She's a terrific footballer technically. Sometimes she chooses the wrong pass, but you'd rather have her in your team than play against her. And she's capable of scoring goals, but I think it's a creativity and the finding space that really works for Chelsea.
It's turned into a really good ball here for Davison. He's waiting for support to arrive. Aluko! Well, the chances are coming for Chelsea.
Again, a really good passage of play coming from this right-hand side, this time Gemma Davison. It's clever by Fran Kirby. She was aware she had a defender who'll probably be there to block the shot as it comes across, steps over it. Aluko's just in line. It was curling away, it just didn't have enough power in it for the curl to be just inside the post.
Change made here by Carlton Fairweather, with McDougall withdrawn. Rachel Furness, who is a Northern Ireland international, has been brought on. Has appeared in every league game this season.
Yeah, she's usually a guaranteed starter. Carlton Fairweather where they moved the team around a little bit, but while ever it's 2-1, Sunderland is still in the game, and both teams will know that. There's always a chance, a mistake. Maybe they could, if they could keep it to the last 10 minutes and just a goal in it, Sunderland, and make a change, a substitution to try and just change the shape of it and go for it at the end.
Chelsea have had the opportunities to put things out of sight, really. Furness with her first involvement, trying to return it to Beth Mead. And out comes Lindahl. Davis. Seen plenty of the ball in this second half. The Chelsea number 7. That's from kindly for G. Enialuka. And still, it's a great run. It's a fantastic hit as well. And a good save as well from Rachel Laws.
She's always dangerous. Enialuka picks it up on the left-hand side and then comes inside, takes it round a couple of defenders. Really powerful shot. Didn't go as much in the corner as she probably would have expected. Rachel Laws was equal to it. Terrific power behind it. Made a good decision there, the goalkeeper, to palm it away rather than try and catch it. Hit with ferocity.
Results in a Chelsea corner. G. Davison. Deep cross. Enialuka up against the substitute Furness. It's a super turn. She's really turning on the style here, Aluka. Headed clearance was by Steph Roach, who opened the scoring, remember, in the game so early on. Just 6 minutes on the clock, the lead only lasting 98 seconds before Chapman got Chelsea level. And the goal that is the difference between the teams scored by Kirby after 21 minutes. Here's Carney, gets the room for the shot. Too far away.
I do like Karen Carney in that position where she can just pop up, a little bit like G. Pop up in space in the middle, just moves the ball really quickly, shifts it, just to give her an eye for goal.
Emma Hayes making a change then, with G being withdrawn. Will allow the introduction of Drew Spence, who's 23 years old, an England international, signed from Fulham in 2008. This 51st career WSL appearance.
Yeah, she's made a lot of starts and involvement in this Chelsea for first 11. Tonight, Emma Hayes just put that extra attacking player in there, just has a little bit more steel at the side of Katie Chapman, just a foundation for the rest of them to build on.
Carney and Kirby. Oh, lovely, intelligent ball, and what a save that is. The shot by Aluka, that was inspired from Rachel Laws.
Tell you what, I should have scored that Aluka, probably one of the goals of the season, just the movement and the 1 and 2 touch passing and awareness. Frank Kirby there just knew Aluka was down the left-hand side.
Laws keeping Sunderland in the game here. Carney's cross this time. Spence. Carney. Chapman. And now Davison. Just can't get the ball, Sunderland. And now they do, finally. Just relieve the pressure. What a performance it's been so far tonight from Rachel Laws, kept particularly busy in this second half.
Yeah, I think she knew that she was going to be in for a busy night. The goalkeepers love that anyway, they love being involved, and last thing they want to do is stand and watch. She's been equal to a lot of things that Chelsea have thrown at her.
Experienced goalkeeper, won the WSL title with Liverpool in 2013. The second tier the following year with Sunderland. In fact, she's the only player to win both, actually. Rachel Laws. Carney. Spence helps it on here to Aluka. Carney. We'll be at Twickenham on Saturday afternoon for the Aviva Premiership final. It is Saracens against Exeter, and it's live from 2 o'clock on BT Sport 1. And just to remind you as well that England's group stage campaign at the Toulon tournament ends against Japan on Friday. Gareth Southgate's Young Lions really hopeful actually of reaching the final of that competition. Laws with the clearance. Borges was first to it for Chelsea. Aluka, who on a different day could quite easily be on a hat-trick here. Banham with the clearance for Sunderland. Has Enialuka given Mark Sampson plenty of food for thought tonight, left out of his latest squad?
Yeah, I mean, she's just got better and better as the game gone on. It'd be interested to see whether he can get out of here tonight without some Chelsea fan or other asking him why their players are not in his particular squad, because I'm sure he has answers to it. He should have answers. But, you know, as the game's gone on, particularly second half, she's been on fire.
Furness and Sunderland start to offer more of a threat. That was a little late there from Furness, who acknowledges it immediately. Borges it is who's been caught there by that challenge.
I think in the end, Furness just came out of the challenge, but the momentum just went through Borges with her knees and struck the side of her leg, obviously in some discomfort. That is a sore challenge, but let's see there, she didn't go with her studs up. She thought about it and in the end just slid in with her knees, just caught their side of her leg. That's worthy of the yellow card, definitely. She's lucky she didn't get completely caught under Furness's legs there. Would have been a real nasty one.
Second spell with Sunderland, Rachel Furness. Returned to Wearside after time at Newcastle up until 2010. She also played in Iceland as well. Has worked as a warehouse supervisor. Here's Carney. Good burst of pace to get away from Furness, and she's got Kirby in support. Continues the run here. Carney, it's a Luco. Davison. There's so many Chelsea players in and around the box. But Davison decided to aim for goal alone in the end.
Davison's desperate for that goal. She just moves the ball really quickly. Quick feet. Carved an opening for herself there, but Sunderland are getting bodies in the way, getting blocks in there.
Maybe have lacked a bit of threat in that final third, Sunderland, tonight as we move into the final 15 minutes, but certainly you couldn't fault their effort, their work rate, and the commitment, which will certainly have pleased Carlton Fairweather. But at the moment, they're heading towards another defeat, still waiting for their first league win, remember.
So while ever it's 2-1, Sunderland do have a chance and get the ball up there and keep defending as they are doing. And Chelsea will know that. And he will know that. You can get the ball up to Beth Mead with a little bit of quality, which is where their goal came from.
He had been saying before the game, Lucy, Carlton Fairweather, in several interviews actually that I heard, that he wanted his team to be more clinical. He said, I guess Beth Mead in response to that today might say, well, I need to be given the service to be clinical.
To be fair, they haven't had that many chances and they've scored from it. You know, they just need to get this girl in front of goal, because if you do, she'll score, and they've proved that last season. She has that quality.
Staniforth. Here is Beth Mead. And it's blocked, and wow.
See, that's what I'm saying, Adam. You know, that it just, if they were 3-1 up, that would have been a deflection, and it's 3-2. But at the moment, they're only 2-1 up. So you get that sort of effort, and it could have looped over Lindahl quite easily. Just got to be really thorough and professional in the defending now, Chelsea.
Concentration key here for the champions. We've had little to deal with at the back in this second half. Sunderland's first corner of the game. Can they make the most of it? They've sent a fair few forward, including the captain, Bannon.
Yes, Steve! 1-1, 1.
They've had their defensive frailties this season, Chelsea, as they ready Beth England to be brought on. It's perhaps been the difference between themselves and Manchester City, who topped the table. Already conceded 8 goals this season, the champions. Just 1 clean sheet in their first 5 games. Manchester City, remember, still haven't conceded a goal yet, which is quite remarkable, really.
It's just crazy. Sunderland doing well when the recovery runs are really good, and they're bouncing and covering well as a back four, and that's probably one of the main reasons why Chelsea have not got an extended up to 3-1 and 4-1. A good performance that way in terms of Sunderland's.
Just to remind you as well that Manchester City have dropped points for the first time this season with that goalless draw at Liverpool earlier today. It's a chance for Chelsea to close the gap to 4 points. They would have a game in hand as well. Davison up against Tori Williams. And they get that 2-goal cushion. It's, again, good wing play by Davison.
I'm really impressed with Tori Williams. She's a tough defender. It's difficult for Davison, Carney or Luco to get past her. And Hayes will just be wanting their team to get through this and get the 3 points. You know, whether it's a 2-1 or they get an extra goal. I think it's just important that they get the 3 points in this game, particularly at this stage in the game.
Flick on by Roach. It's a collision there between Furness and Chapman, and it's certainly the Sunderland player who's come off worst.
Kate Chapman makes me laugh. She absolutely got battered then. She probably came off worst in terms of that, and she still stood on her feet. Furness is struggling, but that must have hurt. You watch this. Look at that. She just got straight back up. She's made a steal, that girl. Look at that. I mean, both of them there, they really, really took a clattering. She's giving herself a minute at the side of the pitch, and Furness is getting a little bit of treatment in the middle.
Well, Gemma Davison withdrawn for the introduction of England. 21 years old, Beth England. England under-23 international who was signed from Doncaster in January, one of the off-season signings.
That lump, sorry, on the side of Furness's head.
Let's remind ourselves of the tail of the tape then. The opener coming 6 minutes in, scored by Roach, and the equaliser, well, it was 98 seconds later. The captain, Katie Chapman, and what a lovely header that was to give Chelsea the lead on 21 minutes. Fran Kirby.
Yeah, Chelsea have definitely been dominant in this game. They just haven't had... Gemma Davison's played well. She didn't get the goal she probably deserved. But we're getting to the last 10 minutes of the game. This is where we might get a little bit nervy. Chelsea desperately need the 3 points. Sunderland can probably go for it and throw caution to the wind and rather lose 3-1 and trying to get themselves back in it at 2-2.
It's both sides' final game before the mid-season break. Lay down injured here for Sunderland, but the referee allows play to go on, and it's with Beth Mead.
You don't often see Calton Fairweather getting up and shouting at the referee, but he's right. He just said Lucy Staniford's just been done, and he's right in that challenge. Just a foot was left in there on Staniford as she went to the ground, and it should have been a free kick.
It's Borges who's brought down here by Crystal Johnston.
I think Borges does have the speed and just showed enough to it. Johnston, it's an equal foul.
Well, as a second half substitute, the former Manchester City player Crystal Johnston. Confirmation of that yellow card. What can Chelsea make of the free kick? Could get a little nervy in the closing stages here for Chelsea if they can't get that third. Well, plenty forward here too. It was in towards the captain, Chapman. Blundell. Now Carney. Chaplin. Now Kirby. England. Lovely control that. Spence took on the early strike.
She has a really good strike on it, Drew Spence. She doesn't score as many goals as probably Emma Hayes would want her to, but she gets that bit of space and she can really drive a ball.
got 2 in 3 previous league appearances this season. Drew Spence, the first England cap in October of last year against China in a 2-1 defeat. Loitering on the edge of the area here too, the Chelsea number 24, as Carney sends in the corner. He was allowed to bounce by Williams. Aluko. This kick by Roach. It comes out here to Karen Carney. Still up a decent cross.
Gilly Flaherty makes me laugh. It's like one of these frustrated forwards. Any chance she gets to stay up front to try and get on the end of any sort of crosses that come from set pieces, she does. It's not fallen for her tonight, but 10 out of 10 for effort.
The focus right now for Chelsea to keep on Manchester City's coattails, which is why it's so important that they get the win here tonight. But it is going to be really interesting to see how they progress in Europe in the coming years. Reach the round of 16 in the Champions League this season. Williams in the way of that pass from Kirby, beaten 4-1 by Wolfsburg. Chelsea.
And there was a real difference in a gulfing class between Chelsea and Wolfsburg, and it's just the experience of playing at that level as a team, and I think Emma Hayes and the team will have learnt loads from that experience last year.
Wolfsburg will actually face Lyon in tomorrow's final in Reggio Emilia in Italy. Should be a good game. Certainly are very ambitious at Chelsea these days, and I guess it's step by step, isn't it? But having real success in that competition, the ultimate goal for them, really, having got their first WSL title under their belts.
Yeah, it is, and that's why they get the new players in, so they can raise the level. But in the meantime, the WSL level's raising, and that can only be good for any team that enters the Champions League from it.
Inside the final 5 minutes. Chelsea inching towards what would be a very important victory, particularly after those drop points for the first time this season by Manchester City earlier today. Held to a goalless draw by Liverpool, remember. The Reds just seemingly finding a little bit of form now. And left here for Rachel Laws. Just wonder whether Liverpool could come on strong, actually, in the second half of the season after the mid-season break. Certainly have a fine collection of players. It was just about getting them into the right starting 11, really.
Yeah, I think so. It takes a while to settle. You just don't have a while in the WSL. You lose 2 or 3 in a row and you find yourself in the bottom half. But I think Liverpool will be better next season. You know, if they can steadily improve throughout the second half of the season, then I'm sure they'll be one of the teams to deal with next season. Let's see a challenge there by Beth Mead, just left her leg in there, and Borges probably a little bit of frustration of her night.
Spence, Chapman, first time ball to Hannah Blundell. Just too far in front of Spence. Chapman gives it away though. Blundell, Aluka. Carney. The early chance to cross. It's been overhit and behind and harmless, and a goal kick.
The foot that she's used to using. Hannah Blundell has found herself at the left-hand side. Better ball. It's been good ball coming in from this right-hand side for Chelsea. But like I said before, Sunderland have defended well as a group.
Both sides now with a long wait until their next competitive fixtures. Chelsea are away to the London Bees in the Continental Cup on the 2nd of July. Their next WSL fixture at home to Birmingham on the 10th of July. Sunderland travel to Arsenal on the 26th of June, a side they lost 7-0 to in the FA Cup semi-finals. And after that they have another meeting with Chelsea, this time in the northeast, on the 29th of June. It looks very much like Carlton Fairweather's side will be going into that mid-season break, still looking for their first league win of the season. One here for Kirby to chase, and she's got the pace to get there before Sharp. Kirby to try and bend one, and it's another good start by Rachel Laws, who watched that all the way.
Just these shots that Chelsea are having are just not getting right in the corner. It just gives Rachel Laws a chance to get her body behind it and see them over. But it's good play again by Fran Kirby. She's always probing, always wanting to come inside with the ball, find that space.
A little over a minute of normal time remaining. Chelsea certainly not sitting back, quite the opposite, but in no rush it would seem to take this corner. Chapman is ever a target. It's close to it, but headed clear by Steph Roach. Carney. Aluko. Kirby. Whose goal is the difference right now. Aluko. And Spence was in there.
There's been 2 or 3 passages of play from Chelsea tonight, which if it had been ended up in a goal and the finishing had been there, would have been contenders for goal of the season. Just couldn't get that final touch on it, Drew Spence, but excellent play down that left-hand side from Fran Kirby and Eni Aluko.
Chapman's header. Kirby looking to use her pace. And just a heavy first touch, but a bit of confusion there at the back for Sunderland.
Any sort of indecision in the back four. There haven't been much tonight between the back four of Sunderland and the goalkeeper. Somebody like Fran Kirby's quick enough to pounce. Just got too much on that past Rachel Laws.
Roach. Still time for Sunderland to find an equaliser. If they could make it 2-2, it would feel like a victory for them. Time very much of the essence here for Sunderland. It's Furness. Just kept in by Williams. Very clearance up towards Kirby here. Always makes something of what looks like nothing at times.
Playing in the side of the 2 centre-halves, Fran Kirby all night. Steph Bannon did well there to clear it. Always got that pace, try and gets a nod in front of Bannon, but it's an excellent recovery. Reach.
Carney it is who's coming across here to take this corner kick for Chelsea, who are nearly there. Almost over the line. What a big 3 points it would be for them in light of the 2 games that have preceded it. Cup final defeat against Arsenal, potentially costly loss against Manchester City here in the league.
Tell you what, fair play to Sunderland that Chelsea starting to keep the ball in the corner. We wouldn't have thought that in the first half, the way that Chelsea dominated play. But Sunderland have kept to the task, kept it at just 1 goal difference.
Headed by Carney, Aluko. Effort well wide in the end by Beth England. Chelsea dominant in terms of possession, and you would think Emma Hayes might be a little bit disappointed they've not been more clinical with 28 attempts.
Yeah, you would say that Sunderland are more clinical, but I think that the standard of the performance of Chelsea and the way that they've created the chances, will please her. And I think the most important thing for Chelsea tonight is the 3 points.
Luca. This was, I guess, always going to be one of those nights where it was result over performance, particularly with Manchester City dropping points for the first time.
I'm sure there'll be lots of twists and turns as we go on with both of these teams.
the champions are back on track. The response Chelsea needed after back-to-back defeats. It sends them into the mid-season break in good spirits, you would think. Sunderland struggles go on though, just 3 points from 6 games now for Carlton Fairweather's team, who continue to wait for their first league win of the season. They might want us out. Quickly here it would seem, the lights going out so soon after the full-time whistle. We can still just about see Fran Kirby though, who got the winning goal in the end. 21 minutes in, all 3 goals coming in the first half at Wheatsheaf Park. It was Roach who got the opening goal for Sunderland, but 98 seconds later, Katie Chapman, the Chelsea captain, got their equalising goal. A good performance in general from Eni Aluko, although she'll maybe be a little disappointed that she didn't get herself on the score sheet. A fantastic individual performance in goal for Sunderland by Rachel Laws, who is perhaps unlucky to be on the losing side. So then, let's remind you of the other scoreline, because it is so significant in terms of the title race, with Manchester City dropping points for the first time this season against Liverpool. Their 100% record gone, and it means now that Chelsea close the gap to 4 points at the top, and they have a game in hand as well. But let's speak now to Natalie, who has Fran Kirby and Eni Aluko with her.
Eni, Fran, well done this evening. Was the message, Eni, tonight that you simply had to bounce back? There was it, you can't afford to fall behind Manchester City any more than you have.
Absolutely. I think it's been a really tough 10 days, you know, two tough losses to take, and it was about winning today, bouncing back, getting back to winning ways on our home field. So, you know, tonight we had a lot of chances. It was one of those games where it just didn't look like we were going to get more, but the most important thing is the 3 points.
What was said, Fran, after the FA Cup defeat and after the game against Manchester City?
Yeah, I think everyone was disappointed. You know, we want to win every game, so it's disappointing to lose. But you know, we knew we had to bounce back, and that's what we focused on this week. You know, we focused on beating Sunderland. We didn't dwell, we didn't look back. We focused on us. So yeah, we're just really happy that we got the win today. Obviously, we wanted, like Eddie said, to be more. But yeah, I mean, we got the 3 points, and that's all that matters.
Was that perhaps the frustrating thing about tonight, that the amount of chances you were able to create, but didn't score more?
Well, I mean, you got to give credit to Rachel Laws as well. I think she pulled up some great saves. Sometimes you play against a really good keeper, and she made some good saves. But I think we can be better in front of goal. We know we're capable of scoring chances, but I think if we weren't creating chances, there'd be more of a worry. We know that it'll come. But like I said, you know, the most important thing after 2 losses is 3 points. So I don't think we'll dwell too much on the fact we didn't score as many goals as we wanted to.
I suppose a good result tonight for you personally, having the news about the England team today. How difficult has the past perhaps 24 hours been for you, Annie?
Yeah, it's been tough. But, you know, Chelsea is a team I love. I feel very at home here. I feel respected. And I love my football here. So, you know, sometimes you don't always get what you want in life. You don't always understand. But I think, you know, for me, I'm right behind the England team. Still supporting them. And I'm going to focus on my club football.
Eni, Fran, thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you go back and join your team. So, let's see, is against Sunderland here in Staines this evening. We will get all the reaction and go through all the analysis after this break. Welcome back to Wheatsheaf Park. Chelsea are back to winning ways. 3 points tonight against Sunderland. And their manager Emma Hayes joins us. Thanks for being with us, Emma. Congratulations tonight. I know you said that the team had responded well in training this week, and they hadn't played particularly badly against Manchester City. What do you think the difference was tonight?
Goals and putting the ball in the back of the net. I think it was a great response after going a goal behind. Something that's happened all too often in the first half of the season, but resilient to bounce back. I thought it was a wonderful performance from Karen Carney tonight. Great free kick into the box, brilliant header from Katie Chapman, and then to get a second one so soon after, I thought restored some confidence in us, and you know, I think, you know, we didn't finish the glut of chances we had tonight.
You made a number of changes tonight, your first opportunity perhaps to play those 5 attacking players. First of all, why this particular game?
Well, when you're playing against teams that have got lower blocks, they're playing deeper in their half, you have to pull them out, you have to work ways to solve that. So it's less of a game that's about a battle and more of a game that's tactical and about getting overloads in certain situations. So that's why we opted for that. I think it was the right decision. I think, you know, we look back on the game, we probably had 2 or 3 we should have put away, and we should have won more convincingly.
So do you think it worked the way you wanted it to work tonight?
Other than the goals, yes, for the most part. Sometimes we lacked a little bit of discipline, getting impatient, coming into areas, but I think there was a lot of positive. I think the tempo of the game wasn't as high, you know, and sometimes that's what happens when teams sit deep, but you have to inject that intensity into the play, and I thought we took too long to do that. But we had good moments, decent spells, and it's all about a lack of quality finishing for us tonight.
Anya Luko, we've just spoken to a disappointing 24 hours for her in terms of the England decision, but she certainly didn't show anything that affected her tonight. She had a great game this evening and could have got on the score sheet a couple of times.
Yeah, well, I always say they're professionals and you have to deal with setbacks, and if you don't, then, you know, that's something they have to manage. I think for Annie, she's, you know, committed to what she's doing. I'm sure she's committed to be available for selection for her country again if that becomes available, and all she can do is get into the best positions for Chelsea, and she had enough chances tonight. She should have scored a couple, and if she starts to score, then who knows, she could be called back in.
We've still got Sue and Rachel alongside us, and as Emma was saying there, Sue, plenty of chances created for Chelsea there, and perhaps that's the only frustrating thing. They could have had it finished off.
Yeah, I think so, and I think they've got to be positive about creating those chances, because that's the most important thing. I think once you stop creating chances, that's when you start to worry. But it is just about being clinical in front of goal and actually finishing Sunderland off, because at 2-1 anything can happen, and I think that'll be the most frustrating, I think, for the manager and also maybe for the players as well, that they know that in front of goal. But I think we've also got to credit the goalkeeper. I'm sure Rachel will say a little bit more about that, but there's been some fantastic save from Rachel Laws there.
Yeah, what did you make of her performance tonight, Rachel?
Yeah, it really was fantastic, from shot stopping at point blank range to the organising of her back line. I think she did really well, because I do think that Sunderland have defended better tonight than they have done for than the previous games, and also, you know, kicking. So a pretty kind of seamless game, I'd say, for Rachel Laws. Good chances, I'd say, for Chelsea, who should have been more clinical. Annie set up a goal, and I think to her credit, you know, it was part of that second goal, and a real precision pass for Frank Kirby's header.
Well, this game always produces goal, and we didn't have to wait long for the first one. Let's take a look at how Sunderland went ahead, and give us your thoughts, Emma.
I just thought we got to attacking too quickly. Noticed that obviously Hannah Blundell's come across too far and left it open for Roche on that left-hand side, and, you know, a poor start from us, to be honest with you. But we responded well. I mean, it's a lovely slide pass across the pitch and a lovely finish, but poor defending from us.
You mentioned Karen before, and I know, Rachel, we spoke earlier about how influential G can be and how she can dictate the play, but Karen was perhaps a lot more in control of that, I suppose, tonight, you thought?
Yeah, I think what she did really well was when G came deep to receive the ball, Karen got in that more advanced position, so she got on the ball kind of in that Ji So-yeon role that we were expecting to do so, in that sort of high 10 position. So Karen Carney getting on the ball in that position is dangerous. We saw what she can do with the set pieces. The crossing for Kate Chapman's header for the first goal was outstanding, and she brings quality, game understanding, and she's a good organiser on the pitch as well.
Well, that equaliser came 98 seconds later, and Emma, you must have been pleased with how quickly they responded.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a free kick in the right area for us, and it's a fantastic ball, and that's not an easy header. You know, that's quite difficult to head that back across goal, and, you know, that's Katie Chapman for you. She's capable of doing that week in, week out, and there's a great response from the team. Wonderful ball, and I thought both Kate and Karen Carney had excellent games today.
And then Fran Kirby with an excellent header to finish off.
Yeah, we've been working a little bit in training at making sure we vary the cross into the box. Again, a good driving run from Karen Carney. Good link play in and around the box, and Enia Luko does what she does best, get outside the players, drive into the end line, or the byline, sorry. And that's a great header into the back post area. And this is part of what we've been talking about. It's not always about just cutting the ball back on the ground. You've got to lift the ball up, and we've got to vary our movement in those areas to be most effective. But it's a great header, great response from the team, and I think it's just what we need after a tough couple of weeks.
I know you've got another game, but what do you do in terms of the break? Do you welcome a break? What do you do in that period?
Yeah, I think everyone welcomes a break when they roll around, I'm not going to lie. I think the whole team needs it right now. It's been a tough few weeks, but we'll have a couple of weeks and we'll get back on it and come back into the second half of the season. I hope, we're in the position we're in without being at our best yet. So we've got a lot of things to look forward to.
Emma, we always appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much. Let's hear then from Sunderland's manager, Carlton Fairweather.
Carlton, what did you make of that?
Difficult game. Obviously, it was always going to be hard against a very good Chelsea side. The fact that we were still in the game was a credit to the girls, and I think they're very disappointed in the result. I think the fact that we gave away the 2 goals that we gave away was disappointing, and it's something that we worked on during the week to make sure that we were compact and defended well. And the fact that we gave away two headed goals was, again, as I said, disappointing for the girls. So something that we can work on, some positives in the game, and obviously we've got a little bit of a break now, and we're looking forward now to the Liverpool game at home.
The performance of Rachel Laws was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it?
It was. She made some very good saves. Very pleased for her. But again, the girls in front of her have defended well, and that's what Laws is there for, to make some saves if they get beaten. So credit to her and the defence in terms of working hard and defending well.
Going into the break then, what's your assessment of how things have gone so far for you this season?
It's been a difficult first half to the season. We've got some stuff that we can work on. There's some positives that have come out of it, and again we'll be looking forward to the second half of the season to put on performances like that defensively, and then hopefully we can be clinical in our finishing in that final third.
Well, to come to the home of the champions, who, let's face it, have had 2 defeats prior to this, but no disgrace in losing 2-1 at the home of the champions.
No, definitely not. And the fact that we've worked as well as we have done has been a credit to our girls and everyone involved. So fantastic.
Thanks for your time.
No problem. Thanks.
Carlton Fairweather there. In terms of Sunderland then tonight, they would have, I'm sure, taken great confidence from that first goal, but then perhaps struggled to stay in the game afterwards.
They did, but I thought what they can take positives from is the fact that they defended really well, and I think that's something that in previous games that I've watched them, they've maybe not been as compact as they were last season. But I thought from, obviously, the goalkeeper was excellent. I think the back 4, I think they made a couple of mistakes for the goals. I think they know they could have done better for them against Chelsea, but I think overall, I think they've got to be confident, especially scoring that initial goal, and then just couldn't really carry on from there.
Well, this is how the table looks after tonight's games. It was 0-0 between Liverpool and Manchester City earlier on this evening, so Chelsea able to cut that lead just a little bit. Sunderland, as we talked about before, Rachel, can really get dragged into that relegation. That's what the fear will be now, won't it?
Yeah, they can take heart from a much improved performance tonight, but it doesn't show on the board. No points tonight. 3 points, they're in the relegation zone. There's still, a good chunk of the season to go, and they do have, games in hand on teams higher up, but they've got to start scoring some goals, Sunderland.
I'm sure Doncaster will feel that they can take advantage of that with games in hand. So
I think only playing 3 games is quite difficult. You don't get into any momentum, and I think, you look at that table and Sunderland have. They win, they get 3 points, they'll move right above. So everybody, all the teams are still in it. And I think you have to just stay positive, take this break, and then come back fresh and hoping to get those 3 points sooner rather than later.
We always say there's no easy games, and for Sunderland, they've got Arsenal next and then Chelsea again.
Yeah, not probably what they'd be looking for to try and get their, the 3 points that they really, really need. And we said at the beginning that there's no easy games this season, and teams are going to take points off each other. And we saw that with Manchester City and Liverpool tonight. Sunderland, just a 2-1 deficit. It was a closer game than what a lot of other people would have thought.
We've not seen the game, of course, but a big result in terms of Liverpool and Manchester City. Liverpool delighted to take a point, and Chelsea will look in that favourably as well.
I think they will, and I think it was always going to be a difficult game away at Liverpool. It's a different sort of pitch, obviously playing on the 3G pitch, and I think Liverpool are really coming into form at this moment in time. I think that they brought in a lot of new players, they lost a lot of players, and it's took time for them to gel. But the last few games I've been watching them, they've been getting better and better, so they will take points off teams.
Emma said they'll be waiting for the break. A team like Doncaster, they want to get going. I bet they've felt like they've not got going properly yet with the games we've had.
Completely, and I think we've only played 3 games. You want to play more and more games, and we played our first game, and then we had to wait for 2 or 3 weeks. So it is difficult to get into any sort of stride, any sort of momentum. So, like I say, we wanted to just carry on, but it's another mini pre-season to then get ready for the start of the next part, if you like.
Who will appreciate the break, do you think, Rachel?
Chelsea for sure. You know, 3 games in 10 days, 3 huge games, title contender race in between against Manchester City, the FA Cup final at Wembley in front of over 30,000 fans. You know, 2 big disappointing games. So they'll finish on a high with 3 points today, but they'll be certainly relishing the break.
Rachel, Sue, thank you very much for your company once again. We've got plenty more live action for you coming up in the Toulon tournament. It's Japan against England. Tonight, though, Chelsea, as we say, bounced back with 3 points just before the break. 2-1 against Sunderland. That's all for now. Bye for us.